Limitless, upgrade your brain, learn anything faster, and unlock your exceptional life. And yes, his name is Kwik, and he didn't change it for the business. He's here to teach you how to learn so you can work your brain and unlock your limitless potential. His mission, no brain left behind. This being said, Jim Kwik, it's an honor to have you here with us today. The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm really excited about this Mind Valley Summit. And in this session, I'm going to take the next 40 minutes and share with you some strategies on how to become limitless. And first, I want to do a shout out to all our Super Brain students, our Super Brain, our Super Reading readers out there. Your brain is completely super. It is absolutely limitless. And so I encourage everybody to take a lot of notes. I want to make this session so valuable for you that you feel like this alone was worth it. That this one step in another direction, you notice that, like if you take a step in another direction, it could completely change your destination, right? Some people will call it their destiny. And so it's so good to be here. Now, many of you know my work because you're students of ours. You know, I understand that Visions is 15,000 people are watching this live. Mark Cuban just, during his interview right before this session, was asked, what was the question? It was, what was that one thing? What are the qualities you look for in an entrepreneur on Shark Tank to invest in? And his first answer, do you remember what it was? Are you a learner? Are you a learner? I believe if knowledge is power, then learning is your superpower. So in this session, I'm going to share with you strategies on how to learn better, really because your learning is limitless. I just posted something on Instagram, and it said and everyone should go there and share this. I'll actually give away 10 copies of Vision said I could talk about the book a little bit. 10 copies of this book. If you share my last post on Instagram, and then tag me in it so I get to see it. We'll send out 10 copies, and I know people around the world, so it's either physical copies or we'll send it to you on Kindle. But the last post, you could do it after this session, says knowledge alone is not power. And you know that, right? Knowledge is at best potential power. All the books, all the podcasts, all the summits like this, all the seminars, they won't work unless what? Unless you do. And the great aim of education is not self-help. It's not knowledge for knowledge's sake. The great aim of self-help and education is action. In fact, knowledge times action equals power. And your brain is the number one wealth building asset that you have. And the faster you can learn, the faster you can earn. Now, if you go into any bookstores around the world, any airport, you'll see this magazine. And it's interesting, this Entrepreneur magazine. And some of you subscribe to it. And it's interesting because, not only because of the gentleman who's on the cover, your brain coach, it says upgrade your brain. Upgrade your brain. And it's interesting how mainstream media, especially in the workplace, is really talking about now, having this conversation about brain health and mental fitness, right? It says learn more, think faster, focus better. Who here wants to be able to do that better? Everybody, right? And all these links I'll put in my Instagram profile. So make sure you go there after this session. And so there we have access to our podcast. It's one of the most binge listened to shows on Spotify. It's only about average 15 minutes long. No sponsors. So you could just listen to it and go through it. But what the conversation I want to have with you today after listening to Mark Cuban talk is you're listening to some great speakers and you get a lot of methods and you get a lot of instructions. But the truth is, going back to the theme of my conversation with you, how to become limitless, is that you have to apply what you learn, right? So why don't we apply what we learn? Because often, you should meditate, you should journal, you should eat the best brain foods, right? You should prioritize your sleep. You know these things, but common sense is not common practice. So what I want to do unscripted here is really call you on your stuff. I am a brain coach to many of you because many of you are part of my quest. You are part of Super Brain. You are part of Super Reading. You're part of our community. You bought our book. You're part of our Facebook. You're part of our community, right? So you know what to do. And the videos are out there, right? Just like Mark Cuban was talking about, we have unfeathered access to the world's information. We have more connection in our pockets than leaders like President Clinton had when he was in office. Right? If you want to learn Spanish, speed reading, salsa, everything you could get. And you have YouTube, you have podcasts, you have access to information. And so a lot of people have information, but their lives aren't any better because of it. So if it's okay, I want to coach you on this and really get you past this limit. How come there are things that you know, but you're not applying it? All right. And I'm going to give you three keys to becoming limitless in this session. I'm going to go for about 35 more minutes, and then I'm going to open it up for questions and answer. All right. So I want everyone to grab a piece of paper. Everyone's watching this, grab a piece of paper. And I want you to draw 3 circles, 3 intersecting circles. Now, if you know my work with this book, you're drawing 3 circles. By the way, this is the hero's journey we take you through, where you are the superhero and we take you through this journey. And I want you to draw 3 intersecting circles. Now, it doesn't matter how they are. It could be this way, it could be this way. You could draw a Venn diagram, kind of like Mickey Mouse, 2 overlapping ears and a face that overlaps on all of it. Now, this is the key to really becoming more infinite, to breaking the barriers, to redrawing the boundaries of what is possible in your life. So let's go through this. The last circle, I'm going to give you 3 M's. And if you know this already, remember this. What keeps you from mastery, what keeps you from world-class results is this phrase, I know this already. Because it's been my experience after doing this, starting my 30th year as a brain coach with students in 195 nations. We field tested this, right? And it's been my experience here that the people who really excel at the highest levels, they lean into the basics. They never get bored of the fundamentals, right? And so if you've heard this before, try to go deeper and get curious and find even deeper meaning in this, all right? So you're drawing 3 circles, and the last circle, the last M, are the methods, all right? The methodologies. Now, these are the strategies, and you've gone through it. Many of you are again, students in Superbrain and Super Reading. You've listened to our podcast, over 250 episodes, absolutely free. You could find it on the link in my Instagram, as well as a lot of free goodies there for brain training, where I remember people's names at Mindvalley events. You've seen me have audience members stand up and introduce themselves, and I memorize all of your names. Audiences at events like A-Fest and such, or Mindvalley Live, or at university. I've memorized 50, 100-digit numbers, right? Or random words. My point in doing this is not to impress you. It's to express to you what's really possible, because the truth is you could do this too. You really could read a book every few days. You really could learn 2, 3, 4 languages. You really could memorize a speech in a fraction of the time and give it confidently. You could go and walk into a room and meet 20 strangers and leave saying goodbye to every single one of them using their name. It's just we weren't taught. Now, the methods are there, right? You could just search my name anywhere. You'll see 300 million video views of our content. But why aren't you doing all of it? You're learning some great strategies from people here, and you just learn, from Mark Cuban and all these individuals, Lisa Nichols, a lot of our friends. But are you applying it? So there's 3 keys. The last one are the methods, all right? Now, that's available. But you have to address the first 2 circles. And the first circle is your mindset. Your mindset. Now, your mindset are your set of assumptions and your attitudes about something. Your attitudes, assumptions about the world. Your attitudes, assumptions about money. Because you can learn a great method on how to invest, right? The latest crypto strategy, investment strategy, how to build your portfolio, how to make sales, how to do social media marketing. You can learn a great method for speed reading, for memory enhancement. But if your mindset is around money, is something I'm not worth it, right? It's not possible. I'm not smart enough. Then you're still going to be stuck in that box. In fact, do this. I know people are watching. I have multiple screens here to be able to talk to you about this. Do this. Think about a part of your life, an area of your life where you feel limited, right? This is all about becoming limitless. What area of your life do you feel limited? Is it in your relationships? Is it in your impact? Is it in your income? Is it in your reading speed, your focus, your memory, the things that I teach, right? Where do you feel like you're not making progress? Because limitless is not about being perfect. Limitless is about advancing. Limitless is about progressing beyond what you currently believe is possible. And if I sound very enthusiastic about this, it's because I know I used to be one of those people that just would buy books and they would sit on my shelf and they become shelf help, not real self-help, right? I have a lot of books. If I could pan the camera around, I have books on every wall in this room. But just having access to knowledge doesn't change your life at all. In fact, if you read something and don't apply it, you're no better off in a way than somebody who is absolutely illiterate, right? And if I'm being a little bit harsh, it's because I care, right? And so if you're not making progress, where do you feel like you're in a box? Now, in any area, relationships, your physicality, your body, right? And you feel like you're stuck. Now, by definition, this box is three-dimensional, right? And there are three forces that keep you in that box. It keeps you stuck, right? It keeps you constrained. But these are the same three forces that will liberate you. So I'm going to share with you this. Now, you might have heard me talk about this before. It is the basis, the DNA of becoming limitless. But just hear it in a new way. And then I'm going to give you strategies to unlock yourself in a process called unlimiting. All right. So the first is your mindset, your attitudes, assumptions about life, your attitudes, assumptions about the world, your attitudes, assumptions about money, your attitudes, assumptions about your intelligence, your attitudes, assumptions about who you are as a person. What would fall under mindset, write this down, please, what I believe is possible. Because you can learn a great method, like you're learning throughout this summit, on how to do things. In my case, learn how to read faster, learn how to remember names. But if you believe it's not possible, you're still gonna be stuck in that box. Does that make sense? You can learn a great strategy on how to remember names, but if your mindset is, I'm too old, I'm just really stupid, right? You're still gonna be stuck in that box, right? You can learn a great strategy on investing, right? But if your mindset is like, oh, I'm not worth that much money, you're still going to be stuck because you're going to sabotage. If you're not making progress in your life, if it's your mindset, that's where self-sabotage comes in, all right? And so what I believe is possible, what I believe I'm capable of, and what I believe I deserve. I'll put those three things in there for you to meditate on, all right? Now, by the way, when I'm going to go through this in a moment. The second M I want to give you right away is your motivation. So you have mindset, motivation, and methods. Everything boils down to these three areas. Everything, because everything that's beyond you is uncontrollable. And the key to be successful is you have to control the controllables. And you could always control your mindset, your motivation, and the methods you're using, independent of what's going on in the environment. Pandemics, right? Economy, politics, right? That's beyond some of our control. And so what can you control? Your mindset, your motivation, and the methods. So if you feel stuck, or you have a significant other, a family member, a friend, a teammate that feels stuck, where do you have to unlimit yourself? So the first is mindset. The second is your motivation. Your motivation. What is your motive for taking action? Where mindset is to become limitless, mindset is pulling off the brakes, right? You have to get over this negative self-talk that you don't believe it's possible, that you're not smart enough, because that puts brakes on where you need to go. The motivation is the fuel, right? Because if you want to go from A to B, right? You want to get to your next goal this year in 2021. And what do you have to do? You need pull off the brakes, right? Release the brakes so that you could go full. And you need fuel. You need gas, right? You need energy. That's the motivation. Otherwise, you're going to stall. And then the methods is knowing how to drive, right? Knowing how to be able to reach your goals, the strategies, the processes. Now, let's break down motivation. I'll go in motivation in a moment. Because a lot of people, this is where you procrastinate. So my thing is, if you're limited, it's either you're self-sabotaging in your mindset, or you're procrastinating with your motivation, or you're using old methods for trying to get where you need to go, right? Using old methods of marketing, using old methods for diet, old methods for exercise, old methods for reading. When's the last time you took a reading class? 5, 6, 7 years old? That's not going to get you to where you need to go in today's world. We live in an age of, that we're talking about on this summit, Elon Musk. We live in an age of autonomous electric cars, spaceships that are going to Mars, but our vehicle of choice when it comes to learning self-help is often a horse and buggy because it hasn't advanced as much as the world has advanced. Does that make sense? Using old methods. Now, when you're drawing these three circles, mindset, motivation, and methodology, right here, right? When you see this, where mindset crosses over with motivation, you have, I'm going to give you 3 I's. You have inspiration. Where mindset crosses over with motivation, you have inspiration. And in this summit for the past couple of days, you are inspired, right? They're inspiring speakers. If you watch an inspiring movie, what does it do? It changes your mindset about what's possible. and it gives you some motivation, gives you some fuel, right? But you don't know what to do because you're lacking the what? Methods. You're lacking the methods. Where mindset crosses over with methods, mindset and methods, you have what? Ideation. Your mindset is here. You believe it's possible. You can have a limitless mindset. You believe it's possible. You believe you're capable of it. You believe you deserve it. And you know the methods for whatever methods for sales, methods for investing, methods for six-pack abs, methods for real estate, methods for speed reading, memory enhancement, right? But what are you? You're still stuck in that box. What? Because you're not motivated to get out of that box. Finally, where motivation crosses over with methods, motivation and methods, you have the third I, which is implementation. Implementation. Now, that means you're motivated. You have purpose, you have energy, and you know what to do, the methods. But you know what? You could, and some of you are in this space, you could still be stuck in that box because you're only going to be able to implement up to what you believe you deserve, your mindset, what you believe your mindset, what you believe you're capable of, what you believe is even possible, right? Because the sky is not the limit. Our minds are the limit. And many people right now, they're making a mistake. They're shrinking everything that's possible to fit their minds, right? You shrink what's possible to fit your mind. And yet what you should be doing is expanding your mind to fit what? All that is possible, right? And so in Limitless, I have a quote from a French philosopher, and he says, life is the C between B and D. Life is C between B and D. Now, what does that mean? B stands for what? Birth. D stands for death. Life. C stands for choice. Choice. Your life is the reflection. It's the sum total of all the choices you made up to this point. Good, bad, or indifferent. True? Right? And here's the thing, like choices, like where are you going to live? What are you going to do? Who are you going to spend time with? You know, who are you going to be with, right? What are you going to eat? What are you going to feed your mind that day, right? These are all choices. And a lot of people, I'm going to talk about the science of momentum today, unlocking your mindset, your motivation, and the methods so you have limitless momentum. But it's true. Like if you don't think you have momentum, you might have momentum, and that momentum is sitting on the couch and binge watching. You know, many of you watched all of Netflix last year, right? And so you don't. Some people have momentum, but it's not. Is it taking you where you want to go, right? And it's not a judgment. It's just. Here's the thing. Let's go to mindset. All right. By the way, there's a fourth eye that's hidden in this, and the fourth eye is right in between, right in the middle there, and that is what. In the middle of this is right there is what? Fourth eye, integration. Integration like integer or integral, it means what? It means you're whole, right? A whole number. That's an integer, whole number. And that's who you are. And that's my goal for you, is get into this limitless state, right? Because again, what I posted on Instagram, and if you're just joining us, I'm a challenge. You share that post because this is what inspired. I was listening to Mark Cuban previous to my contribution here today, and I just wrote this. I was like, knowledge alone is not power. It's potential power. All the books, podcasts, summits, seminars, none of it works unless you work. The great aim of education and self-help is not knowledge for knowledge's sake. It's action, right? Knowledge times action equals power. You want to act like a person of thought, and you want to think like a person of action. Right? But what keeps you from acting? Because if you don't act, you don't get the result, right? And so I believe for part of our mindset, you have your to-do list. Every successful person has a to-do list. And your to-do list is probably really, really large. I'm suggesting you have a not to-do list when it comes to your mindset. What's on your not to-do list? You know, Simon Sinek and I have a video on Facebook, has 37 plus million views. Probably one of the people that watched it and shared it. Just talking about your phone and how it trains your brain to just be distracted and reactive, right? And all those things. And that should be on your not to-do list, right? Don't touch your phone the last half an hour of a day and the first half an hour a day, right? And you know this stuff, but are you doing it? But also what should be on your not to-do list for your mindset? Caring what other people think, all right? Let's just start there. If you fuel your life on the opinions of those around you, both positive and negative, you're going to run out of gas. No one has the right to define who you are. And you know this, but you have to let this in, right? The only opinion about your dream, about yourself that counts is yours, right? We do ourselves a great disservice when we let the noise of other people's opinions distort our reality, subvert our own thoughts, drown out our inner voice. Like a lot of you know what your passions are, you know what your purpose is, but it's like buried under other people's stuff. right? And I'm not saying don't learn from others. Of course, get feedback, right? Get mentors, get coaches, right? I have a coach, I have a voice coach, I have a business coach, I have a financial coach, I have a personal trainer, right? Get feedback, get mentors, but know that you and you alone are responsible for your life, right? So you need to be able, when it comes to your mindset, you need to audit this inner voice. You need to stand guard to the doors of your brain, especially to the low opinions of other. I ask myself all the time, a million times a day, like, is this good for my brain or is this bad for my brain? Is watching this good for my brain or bad for my brain? Is eating this good for my brain, or is this person, this energy vampire, is it good for my life, my brain, or is it not good for my brain, right? Because you know what? Creating the life you want can be scary, but you know what's a lot scarier to me? Regret. Especially after this past year, right? I think 2020 was the year that we thought we would get everything we wanted, but it ended up being like the year we just appreciated, I feel like, everything that we have, right? Because one day we're going to take our final breaths, and none of other people's opinions, none of your fears, the things that keep you up at night, probably aren't going to matter. What's going to matter is how you loved, right? What's going to matter is how you laughed. What's going to matter is how you lived. What's going to matter is how you learned, right? And so my message for you to become limitless is let your dreams become bigger than your fears, right? Really let your actions be stronger and louder than your words. Let your faith be more powerful than your feelings, right? Because at the end of our lives, there's not going to, in your coffin, this is not like a motivational speech, right? This is me as your coach, because you give me, since you've gone through our programs, most of you have, or listened to our podcast, at least for the next 30 minutes, I want to be your coach. And I don't want to tell you what you want to hear. I want to tell you what you need to hear. Is I want to remind you that when you're in that coffin, and it could happen at any time, there's no room in there for possessions. And you could have the toys and all the fun, I have a 10-foot Hulk in my backyard. Have what you want, but there's no room in the coffin also for possessions, but there's definitely no room in there for regrets. You could go broke trying to buy into the opinions of other people. So stop caring what other people think for your mindset, right? Now, I have to also put in here, because I do a lot of events. I'm in front of, a regular year, live in person, 250,000 people. I could be on 3 continents in 1 week. I don't have to do what I do. We donated 100% of the book proceeds to charity, right? Multiple 6 figures to Alzheimer's research, to building schools. We built schools in Guatemala, in Ghana, in Kenya, fully funded schools for boys and girls who have no access to education. We built clean water, healthcare, providing, all teachers, everything, right? So I believe you learn to earn to return, right? And I just document what I do, and I share it, and also not just what I do, but all our students do, in our programs, which you're a part of, most of you, many of you. But I hear a lot of complaining. And here's the thing: you can make excuses or you can make progress, but you cannot make both, right? Complaining, and I'm saying this out of place of love, because complaining it wastes so much valuable time. It wastes so much valuable energy, and you have nothing to show for it, right? And so excuses are useless. It's like wishing, right? It's like you can't be upset by the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. Let me say that again. You can't be upset by the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. And again, it's just, I don't want you to feel like the world owes you anything, because honestly, it doesn't, right? And so don't wish for it, work for it, right? Don't say it, show it, right? Don't promise it, prove it, right? You don't have to, you don't have to tell anybody your goals, right? Just let your results speak for yourself, right? You accept responsibility for your thoughts, accept responsibility for your actions, be accountable to your commitments, learn from your mistakes, and I promise you the results will follow, all right? And so consistent action cures everything, right? Again, this whole theme, what I'm talking about, is taking everything you're learning in this summit and applying it. Ask yourself, how can I use this? Why must I use this? When will I use this? For every hour you listen to a podcast or on Clubhouse or listen to the summit, you have to spend 2 hours in the field doing this stuff. Right? So many people are so junkies for just learning and not doing anything. And life doesn't change that way, right? You might get a dopamine fix, because you're learning new stuff, but I promise you the reward, the feelings you get from actually showing up for yourself is so much larger, right? So you have to be aware of your negative self-talk, right? And so you don't justify and complain or get upset by the work we're not doing, right? And so that's complaining, that's kind of a thing for me. Just for me, I feel like we should be grateful, that you don't have to wait for a greater life to feel grateful. Feel grateful, and you're going to have a greater life. You know, I believe life is a lottery we already won, right? Gratitude is riches. Complaint is poverty. All right. So stop caring what other people think. Stop complaining and making excuses. This is your mindset we're talking about. If you're just joining us, this is your brain coach, Jim Kwik, talking about your mindset, motivation, and the methods becoming limitless for accelerating your learning. But not only your learning, this is your life, right? And here's the third thing you want to stop. You want to stop overthinking this. You want to stop overthinking this. So many of you are so learning, and I love that. I love you. I'm on the same journey with you. And you're just thinking about it, but you're paralyzed. And I don't know who falls in this category. I'm not talking to all of you. Thinking is good. Overthinking and wanting things to be perfect is not good. It could end things before they ever have a chance to develop. So promise me when we're done with this session, you and I, you're just going to start. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress, right? It's about the consistent effort you make every single day that lead to small incremental improvements, right? Little by little, a little becomes a lot. Don't complicate this. Keep it simple. Ignore the noise. Do you work hard, keep learning, be kind, and I promise you amazing things will happen. All right? So no excuses, no overthinking. Don't care about, this is on your not to-do list. Don't complain, don't make excuses, don't overthink, don't care what other people think. Next, stop judging yourself. All right? We have to lighten up here. It's not about being perfect because you're using that excuse to not making personal progress. Release the self-judgment. But in those moments when you feel like you're criticizing yourself, you take a pause. Let's do it now. Take a breath and just observe yourself. Just observe yourself instead. The former leads to self-doubt, but the latter leads to self-awareness. The latter leads to self-development. The latter leads to self-esteem. The latter leads to self-improvement, right? Like now's the time where you're not taking, doing self-care, obviously do that. But be so busy growing yourself, growing your business that you have no time for self-judgment, right? And so just observe yourself, replace judgment with curiosity. And then finally, just stream of consciousness, because I'm watching the summit along with you. Somebody, I heard the word busy, and I saw it in the chat. Stop glorifying being busy. Can we just put an end to that? Like so many people, you go to somebody and say, how's it going? You're like, oh, I'm so busy. Can we just agree everybody has things to do? So we don't have to glorify being busy, using it as a badge of honor or a badge of courage, right? And now think about the secondary gain. Why do we always say we're busy? Because the message we're really saying to that person is, I'm important, right? I have important things to do, right? And you get your self-esteem or you get significance from that. But the challenge is if you glorify being busy and you say to yourself, I'm busy, 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 because it gives you secondary gain, then you're going to design your life around being busy. Honest to God, when somebody says, I'm just going to be transparent. When I hear somebody saying they're busy and overly busy, I don't say wow, this person's really important. I'm thinking, wow, this person's not very efficient. This person's not very effective. This person's working not very smart, right? Because here's the thing. The most important thing is to keep the most important thing the most important thing. Most people are busy doing non-important things. Let's just face it. Because if it wasn't, they would be getting the results they're hoping for, right? The most important thing, it's not about time management. See, how do I say this? Not what other people say. What I want to say is not everything is equal, okay? There's a lot of belief that everything is equal in the world, and the truth is it's not, okay? Not everybody's equal education. Not everybody has equal amount of money. Not everyone makes an equal salary. Not everybody has equal connections, right? What's equal? 24 hours in a day. Elon and everybody who's been mentioned in this summit, everybody has 86,400 seconds in a day, right? So the most important thing is to keep the most important thing the most important thing. And how are you investing that time and attention to get the greatest level of return? So stop caring what other people think, stop complaining, stop making excuses, stop judging yourself, stop saying that you're busy. And I would say that. I think that covers mindset. Last thing, stop comparing yourself. Okay, one more. Stop comparing yourself to anyone else other than your best self, right? Can we just say that? Because I talk about this in the book, right? Digital dementia, digital distraction, digital deluge, right? Digital, this digital, one of these things like digital distraction, but there's also this digital depression. I love social media. It allows most of us to connect, right? Most of us are connected on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the other places, right? I do have a TikTok. I will start posting soon, I promise you. So follow me there. But here's the thing. Digital depression is where we're comparing ourselves to other people's highlight trailer, and you've heard this. And people think it's greener on the other side. The truth is, it's probably greener there because of the filter they're using. It's probably greener there because there's a lot of artificial turf on social media. Let's get real. It's greener where you water it. Now, I didn't have we had a thing with our sprinklers and it was out. And let me see, like we have, I don't usually show this, but like our grass finally came back. It was all brown, but now it's completely green. Do you see that? I don't know if you see that. Probably just messed up. Sorry to the producers of this. But now it's green because here's what you learn. The grass is greener where you water it. How about that? The grass is greener where you water it. And so my thing is, don't compare yourself to anybody else other than what your best self is. Don't compare yourself. Stop looking in the past. Only look in the past to see how far you've come. And that's how winning is done, right? That's how transformation happens. And that's what I want to talk about in terms of mindset. So and in terms of people having negative thoughts and anxiety around stuff, there's so many resources that we talk about in our podcast, right? In our program. If you've gone through Superbrain, you know many of them. If you listen to our podcast, you read our book, tapping, right? Emotional freedom technique, EMDR, hypnosis, self-guided hypnosis, right? Guided imagery, talk therapy. There's so many ways of changing this negative self-talk and killing those ants, those automatic negative thoughts. So that's your mindset. And when it comes to your motivation, so again, where we are right now, we're talking about becoming limitless, and everybody needs a coach or a mentor. What I'm here to say is to point out this limitless model, that if you're stuck and not making progress in your body, in your business, in that book you're writing, in your social media following, whatever you care about, your brain, it's either what's holding you back is your mindset, your motivation, or the method you're using. When it comes to motivation, how many of you procrastinate a lot? Procrastinate. I have multiple screens here, and I have the app open here also as well. So those of you in the app, and I have many things open. And so here's the thing. Motivation comes down to three things. Hear me on this. This formula for limitless motivation is P times E times S3. P times E times S3. P stands for purpose. Okay, so let's go here. The formula to get what you want in life, head, heart, hands. All right, you've heard me talk about this for so many years. You can visualize things in your head. You can have goals in your head. You can have vision in your head, right? You have a vision board. Everything's going in your head. You can have KPIs, right? These key performance indicators here. But if you're not acting with your hands, check with your second H, which is your heart, right? Your purpose. It's not something you just see here or feel in here. You have to feel it here, right? And so what are all the benefits that come from following through? And what happens if you don't follow through? Who's counting on you to show up today, guys? Who's counting on you to be at your best today, right? And how does it feel to disappoint that person? And it's okay, right? I think that feelings are just signposts for your life. That if you feel something, you feel scared to give that presentation, that fear is meant to act, is meant to get you to do the work, right? Any feeling that you have has to have an action that comes with it. Otherwise, you're paralyzed. So find that purpose. Now, somebody could have purpose and still not be motivated. You need the E, and that's energy. So many people, do you suffer from mental fatigue? Do you have brain fog? And if you listen to Super Brain or Super Reading, or again, I'm plugging the book because we donate all the proceeds to this book, limitlessbook.com. The link is, everything is in my Instagram profile. It's all our stuff. If you're not doing those things, like, are you eating the best brain foods? Are you getting sleep? Are you managing your stress? Because all that stuff takes away energy. Remember, motivation is all about energy management. That's all it is, right? Mindset is priority management, motivation, energy management. All right, manage your energy. Because a lot of people, they're not motivated because they're tired. And exhaustion will make a coward out of any of us, right? If you ate a big processed meal and you're in a food coma, you're not going to want to read, right? If you see me with photos with Elon and Oprah or Bill, or any of these individuals, we bonded over books, right? Leaders are readers, regardless of who they are, right? Leaders are readers. And so what are you reading every day? But maybe you haven't slept in 3 nights, right? Because you're playing video games, or you're binge watching the show, and you can't stop watching those Korean dramas or whatever you're watching, right? And you just can't, just one more, and you're tired. You're not going to be motivated to work out, right? To build your business, right? And let's be honest, when it comes to your business, I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs here. Get this magazine. There's a link, by the way, in my Instagram. There's a link to this. They did an 8-page feature. This is I'm so self-conscious because I'm just such an introvert. The 8 pages. This whole feature is they linked this in, I put the link to this in our, in my Instagram also as well. So you can reach the whole article. And again, it's called Upgrade Your Brain. So check that out. So here's the thing. Do you feel energy? So maximize your energy. And finally, you could have purpose and unlimited energy and still not be motivated because you're confused, because you're intimidated, because maybe that goal is you want to have the perfect body. That's way too big. I want 1 million followers on social media. That's way too big, right? I want to create the next unicorn business. I want to be able to read, 5 times faster. Those are too big. Next, S3, small, simple steps. Small, simple steps, all right? And how you get your small, simple step, ask yourself this question. What is the tiniest action I could take right now that will give me progress towards this goal? What is the tiniest action I could take right now that will give me progress towards this goal where I simply cannot fail? Maybe it's not working out an hour a day. Maybe you don't do that. Putting on your running shoes is a small, simple step. Maybe reading 45, by the way, it only takes 45 minutes, guys, to read a book a day. Not a book a day. Somebody just asked me in an interview right before this, because they know for 4 years I read a book a day. I read about 3 to 4 books a week, right? And I really, not skim or scan, I read it, right? And many of you do that because you went through our reading program. But here's the thing. Maybe it takes about 45 minutes, the average reader, which is pretty slow, 45 minutes a day to get through 1 book a week. Now, if you've tripled your reading speed with us, 15 minutes a day, very doable. But if you're not doing it, maybe you don't have the energy, or maybe it's too intimidating to read that much. Small, simple step, opening up the book, reading 1 line, break it down. Little by little, a little becomes a lot. So that's your mindset, your motivation, and the methods, all right? When you unlock and unleash each of those, then you become limitless. What is limitless? Your mind is limitless. That if knowledge is power, learning is your superpower. That truly, where jobs right now, let's check in with where the world is. Jobs are going places, right? They're going to machines. They're being automated. They're going to artificial intelligence. What's not going to be outsourced is the things that truly make you limitless. There's no limit to your mind. There's no limit to your creativity, your ability to solve problems, right? Your ability to think bigger. There's no limit to your imagination. Imagination, Einstein said, is more powerful than knowledge, right? There's no limit to our ability to come together right now when we need to the most, right? How do you become limitless in a limited world? We do it together. You've heard this African proverb, right? If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go further, you go together, right? We go together. And let's do that together. Here's the takeaway. The biggest mistake I see people making right now. Do not downgrade your dreams to meet this current situation. Do not downgrade your dreams to meet this current situation. Upgrade your mindset. Upgrade your motivation. Upgrade the method you're using to be able to meet those grand, audacious dreams and goals. All right, that's my time. I'm going to answer some quick questions. Quick questions.
Wow, what an incredible session. I think we are really all born with these enormous capacities, but it's only about our attitude towards it and application. And I think that exploring our own gifts can get us to amazing achievements. Jim Kwik, thank you for expanding our minds and making us believe in ourselves again. For Mind Valley members, we also have the quest on Mind Valley Super Brain, where you can learn keys to unlock your super brain. And Jim, many thanks. I've been doing the quest on Mind Valley and I got so much value because I was a pessimistic person. I was freezing literally in front of everything, but now my mindset has changed so much that my personal life and the way that I'm training and learning and most importantly, applying has changed. So many thanks. Jim, also, if we want to connect with you on social media, where can we find you?
Please. Everybody can find me at Jim Kwik, Jimkwi. I can't spell my last name. Kwik really is my last name. I didn't change it to do what I do. My life was pretty much planned out. I had to be a runner back in school, which is a lot of pressure when it says Kwik right on your shirt. And I get to do my dharma, my mission, which is teaching people how to learn quicker, read quicker, remember things quicker, think quicker, but not frantically fast, but just confidently, right? Just more efficiently. And so if people go there, you can go to jimkwik.com and get all the links. And all the links I put in my Instagram profile. So follow me there. We do these lives all the time, answer your burning questions. My goal here is I grew up with learning difficulties. I had a traumatic brain injury when I was 5, and that made learning very hard. So I've dedicated my life, my adult life, to building better, brighter brains so people could have their brightest future. And so our podcast link, subscribe to our YouTube. We have good 600,000 plus people watching our videos there. Our podcast, as I mentioned, is only 15 minutes long, no advertising, no sponsors. We just want to democratize this. And I would challenge everyone to do this. Take a screenshot of what you're watching right now and tag myself at Jim Kwik so we see it. And share one thing you're going to do today for a better brain. What's one thing you're going to do or one thing you took away from this? Because one of the fastest way to learn something is to teach it to somebody else. They call it the explanation effect. When you teach it to somebody else, you get to learn it twice. So pick one big aha or take a picture of your notes or take a screenshot of this. And I'll actually repost some of my favorites. I'm sure they will also. And I'll actually give 10 copies of Limitless to you, wherever you are in the world. Some places are hard to ship, so I might have to send you the Kindle version, also as well. But again, all the links to the Entrepreneur Magazine article, our podcast, our YouTube, all that stuff is in our Instagram. But I really appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, so we will have some questions from the public that I would like to address. But first, I will take advantage of my position and ask you the following. How do emotions affect our memory for a positive person or a more anxious one?
Yeah. So anxious person is challenging because chronic stress has been shown to shrink the human brain. It actually makes it smaller. It puts you in fight or flight or freeze. And that's not the best place to study under stress. Chronic fear, which a lot of people are, their brains are going to the media because part of your brain called amygdala gets hijacked because if it bleeds, it leads. And news knows that. It's focused on what's dark and threatening and scary. The challenge is it doesn't give you a lot of bandwidth to focus on possibility, to focus on opportunity, to focus on your blessings, to focus on what you could be grateful for. And so their feelings are very associated so negative feelings could put you under stress and fear, could shrink your brain, compromise your immune system, whole area of science called psychoneuroimmunology. On the other side, information combined with an emotion becomes a long-term memory. Information combined with an emotion becomes a long-term memory. So, and you know this, how many of you have a song that could take you back, you listen to it, and all of a sudden you're a teenager again, right? How many of you, it's a fragrance or a food, right, that would take you back to when you were a child? So information by itself is forgettable, but information combined with an emotion becomes unforgettable. And I want to remind all of you, you are in control with how you feel. All learning is state dependent. All learning and life is state dependent, emotional states. So where you could add emotion to something, you're going to know it so much better. Adding humor, adding some action to something, making something a little bit silly. It kind of sounds silly, but who are the fastest learners? Children, right? And children do this. They're so curious and playful. So Anything you can do to cope with stress. I know Emily Fletcher is part of the community also as well. We've had her on our show. She's my meditation coach. Wonderful way to lower anxiety as well. And then think about ways you could add joy. We are this feeling soup. You think about dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. We are this feeling. We're not logical, we are biological. And so it makes a difference. And just even asking yourself, like you have in the morning, a to-do list, I would suggest everybody have a to-feel list. We talked about your not to-do list, but have a to-feel list. What are 3 emotions you want to cultivate today? Because you don't have emotions, you do emotions. You don't have joy, you don't have energy, you don't have motivation, you don't have focus. And you're thinking, yeah, that's the problem, Jim. I don't have focus. You don't have these things, you do these things. Right now, if you wanted to experience happiness and go from boredom to enthusiasm, you could do it, right? You just have to make that choice.
All right, the next question comes from the public and is from Akash. And he says like this: Hi, Jim. I learned so much from your courses and felt the course elevates my ability to learn. However, I would really appreciate the guidance from how to implement these ideas beyond the scope of the course. Are there certain practices you recommend to transform our deliberate practice of supermemory to where it is natural?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's one way of doing that. I believe everybody should create a map. And of course, if you know me, I alliterate and make acronyms out of everything. And this is your mental action program. And now that you've gone through our programs, right? Or if you haven't gone through, I highly recommend people join these courses or our podcast, right? Or you read the book. Sit down and take out a journal and say, hey, you don't have to do everything in the book. Take 1 or 2 things that you're going to do consistently. And the best way to design your habits, I believe first you create your habits, then your habits create you. And the goal is, when it comes to habit design, is you want to make things that are good for you easy. And you want to make things that are difficult for you, more damaging for you or hurtful for you, you want to make them more difficult. Does that make sense? So you want to design your life so what's good for you is easy and what is not good for you is more difficult. Let me give you an example. Like right here, I have a kettlebell. I have a kettlebell right on the side of my desk because I will trip over it every single time I leave the room, but it's there. It makes it very easy for me, as your body moves, your brain grooves, to use that kettlebell. Because right now, a lot of us suffer from, Zoom fatigue. We're behind screens all the time, and I recommend everybody, like right now I'm standing, right? Because I want to be able to move my body. People know when you listen to our podcast or listen to an audiobook like Limitless or anything that you recommend, if you listen to it while you're on an elliptical, a lot of people have, they walk and they listen to watching this right now. And you'll actually learn it better. If you're doing something rhythmic while you're listening, you'll retain it better and you'll understand it better also as well. So how can you design your environment? Like for example, on my nightstand by the bed, I have only 3 things. I have a glass of water for me to drink first thing in the morning, so it's easy for me to hydrate because you're just staying hydrated, everybody. You see me drink water throughout the day, many, many glasses. Your brain is mostly water. Just staying hydrated will boost your reaction time and thinking speed upwards of 30%. That is a huge advantage, right? But I make it easy. I put that water there the night before. What do I have next to there? I have a dream journal and a gratitude journal. I, search online, Jim Kwik, remember your dreams, because did you know Mary Shelley came up with Frankenstein in her dream? Paul McCartney came up with the song Yesterday in his dream. Chemist created the periodic table in his dream. What are you dreaming about? So make it easy to capture your dreams. Gratitude exercises, all these things, and then I have like a sleep wearable device that measures my sleep, because it's not the amount of sleep you get, it's the quality of your REM sleep and your deep sleep, right? So I would say for your memory action program, think about or your mental action program, if it's reading, I have a fiction book sometimes by my bedside. I do not read nonfiction at night because that gets me in my executive brain, right? And I don't want to be in my analytical executive brain, in this front brain. I'm going to read more fiction. That puts me in a parasympathetic rest and digest. Again, design your environment so what's good for you is easy and what's harmful for you or not so good is more difficult. And just do one thing each day and just add to it. Little by little, a little becomes a lot, because consistency compounds. Remember, I repeat myself over and over again because repetition is the mother of learning. Repetition is the mother of learning.
Thank you so much, Jim Kwik, for joining us today and for sharing with us your wisdom. Guys, we are having a poll activated right now that you can use it to tell us how you liked the session. And you should make sure you stay around. We have next Meditate with Mind Valley and other incredible sessions coming in. Make sure you join Vishen on the powerful daily routines and ideas from his new book at 9 p.m. Tallinn, 11 a.m. LA time, 2 p.m. New York, and 2 a.m. Kuala Lumpur. And for all of you who became members, we have a membership orientation call where you can find out all the news about our new programs in Mind Valley at 9 p.m. London, 11 p.m. Tallinn, 1 p.m. LA time, and 4 p.m. New York. Thank you so much.